Hey everyone. Okay, now they're just trolling us, right? That's the thing. Well, I can't say that with actual genuine presumption of knowledge because it is speculative on my behalf. But boy, the way they put these articles out, it sure does seem that way. Listen to this one, folks. Disturbing stuff. Headline out of CBC News, and of course it's under the politics section. Cash incentives for parties could help get more women in politics. MPs. Cash incentives for women, right? To get them into politics. Yeah, I bet that would work. Wow. How far are they going to fall, Canada? I don't know. Watch out where they land because they're definitely in free fall. And it's going to be one hell of a thud. Increasing women's participation in electoral politics is essential for achieving greater gender equality. It's being reported by Teresa Wright, Canadian Press, April 12th, 2019. I mean, just look at the picture here, right? Look at all that diversity. Actually, there is some diversity if you look way back in that little corner right there, I guess. There is some diversity, I guess, as far as their skin color, right? But nothing but, like I say, women wall to wall here. Where's this pretense of diversity? You suppose these women are diverse and they want to have, like, I don't know, let's say a straight white male like myself included in there? Probably not, right? Well, once again, no, they pretend that they truly care about diversity. They really do. In reality, even though there might be some different diversity as far as some skin color here, as you can see, they're all aligned with the same ideology. So is there genuine diversity? No. Only diversity as far as superficialness, which, what really does that really matter when you're talking about politics? Diversity when you're talking about politics and how you should rule over people, right? Dictate and control every aspect of their social and economic lives. Genuine diversity would mean that there's no such thing as let's just target something towards one side of the equation in terms of the sexes, right? A House of Commons committee is making a cross-party call for the federal government to offer financial incentives to political parties that nominate more women candidates to run for election. The recommendation is one of 14 recommendations the Status of Women Committee made in a new report about the ongoing underrepresentation of women in politics, titled Elect Her, a roadmap for improving the representation of women in Canadian politics. Despite their growing political participation, women represent just 35% of all legislators in Canada and remain underrepresented in all levels of government, the report said. No, that's not true. That is absolutely not true, actually. And I've got the statistic. Well, I'll share it here in the video, as you'll see here. That's not my statistic. That's Statistics Canada. That's the federal government statistics. It says that 71% of all of those who work for government are women. So are women really underrepresented in government? No. Maybe, like I say, at the very top echelons of power? Maybe. But 35%, that's still like, it's not like a couple percent, right? And Trudeau's out there with his gender parity. So apparently, like, I guess they're saying, well, the Conservatives haven't done that and the NDippers haven't quite gotten into the 50-50 yet. So I guess that's why there's still a representation of this 35%. But once again, when you're hiring people or placing people in some kind of position based only on their genitalia, yeah, that's usually proven not to be a good idea as far as their competent levels. And look at the federal Liberals and those he's surrounded himself with. And yeah, I can't help but say, yeah, the proof is in the pudding. Yeah, you chose based on their gender, not their competence. And it's very much showing and glaringly obvious. Increasing women's participation in electoral politics is essential for achieving greater gender equality. Having more women in elected offices is about more than achieving equality in a traditionally male-dominated field. It could also have significant effects on public policy. Oh, it will definitely have a lot of effects on public policy. Definitely. The more women you get into politics, I'm already seeing that today, folks. Are you seeing that? I'm certainly seeing it, right? Massive spending, ramping up debts and deficits, and finger wagging how terrible men, especially white men are in particular. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing that. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more women in politics today, and I'm definitely seeing the result of that. A lot of bitter, resentful women that apparently couldn't make it out there in that private sector, felt they had to go into government for some reason, right? Take over that big, gigantic gun in the room and act like they're basically akin or similar to their male counterparts. Yeah, those kind of women. Yeah, we're definitely seeing a ramp up and an escalation of those folks that definitely want to enter into politics. You think that's going to work out good for men or women? Trust me, I talk to a lot of ladies, my wife included, and yeah, even she don't think that's a good idea. And she's a woman. So don't try to use the sex thing against me. It's not just my opinion. And I'm not even saying that I agree with the collective statement that just because it's a woman. But hello, yeah, there are general stereotypes and traits that are predisposed and part and parcel of the male-female experience, right? And trying to deny or ignore that we do have some difference between us, or some generalized statements that you can use for particular sexes or either sex. I mean, you can pretend that that's not a reality if you want, but you know that that is a reality. Because if you lived in the real world, it's undeniable. Political messaging doesn't actually have to represent the real world. Truth does. The committee zeroed in on the role that political parties play, saying they should work harder to get more women to run by eliminating sexism and biases that might be built into the recruitment efforts. One potential fix, the committee says, would be to offer cash incentives, such as subsidies, to encourage parties to help more women get nominated and then elected. So to give someone an economic advantage over the other, right? That's literally what they're promoting here is, let's give women an economic advantage over men. Subsidies, an economic advantage. That's discrimination, right? That is literally, they accuse so many people of being discriminatory, but they literally want to enshrine and instill discrimination as part of their platform, as part of their policy. Like, you can't even make this stuff up, folks, but these people are seemingly more than willing to put this stuff out for all of us to read, to see, and to hear, and they don't seem to even have any shame in doing so. You want to talk about people that are out of touch? Look no further. Witnesses and experts who spoke to the committee cited New Brunswick's example of changing the formula for the per vote subsidy to favor female candidates in provincial elections. Votes received by female candidates are weighted 1.5 times greater than votes received by male candidates in the province, which encourages parties to run women in competitive ridings, where they are more likely to win. The federal per vote subsidy was eliminated in 2015. Whoa. I didn't even know, and this is someone, I'm from New Brunswick, but see, that's the thing. I never really get into party politics. I voted a couple of times ever in my life, and it was in New Brunswick. But hey, I didn't know that when I voted that my vote only counted to the tune of my one vote paled in comparison, I guess, to the female vote that was apparently given a weight of being 1.5 persons in comparison to me as a man. How discriminatory is that? I didn't realize that, but it would explain a whole lot as far as how that province is governed. Actually, wow, does that ever explain a whole lot of things? Actually, I'm probably going to be thinking about this for a little while going forward because, yeah, that does actually explain a whole lot of things. Not just as far as the criminal justice system, but how men are treated in general in that province. So, yeah, this says a lot. But I mean, the fact that it's enshrined in New Brunswick, a woman's vote has 1.5 times the weight compared to that one time for the male vote. And like I say, that is literally pure discrimination, right? That is sexism to its core, is to give one particular sex, their vote means 1.5 times of what the other person is, right? If one woman's vote represents a 1.5 vote, or a vote of 1.5 persons, then 2 women have the equivalent of 3 votes as opposed to 2 men, which just have 2 votes. So, if there's 5 people, even though it's 2 men and 2 women, guess what? Women are going to win every time because they get that extra vote just by sheer fact of what? Vag, right? I don't know. Sounds pretty discriminatory to me. And apparently that was even the same in the federal elections. Although apparently it was eliminated in 2015. Although, like I say, I don't know enough about this particular thing. Like I say, I'm just learning of this stuff, and I'm sure you probably are as well. I didn't even know this was something not just provincially, but in federal elections. You mean even in federal elections, one sex, their vote was weighted more than another sex? Wow, this is, well, once again, folks, at least we're learning some of this disturbing information, but they're telling you that as if they're promoting it. They're not saying like me, it's like, that's a detriment, that's discriminatory. That actually goes against the very pretense of equality, but they're more than happy to put this stuff out there. Like I say, that's why some days I think it's not just a cruel joke, but I mean, Just look, I mean, they're this comfortable doing this stuff, folks. So, like I say, who's truly in charge, right? No man would be comfortable with doing this kind of stuff, right? You know that. So who's really in charge today in this country? It's the feminists and those that align with them. I mean, Scheer's already identified as a feminist himself. I'm sure Jasmine probably has as well. And we know Trudeau definitely does. So basically, it's the feminists that have a lot of dominant sway and influence over not just the culture, but definitely in terms of politics in this country. I mean, and you don't even have to just listen to me, right? It's all right there, even from the CBC. That's why I love dealing with these topics and these articles, is because now it's all on record, and not just in CBC, but now I've recorded it in video form. And like I said, I'll post a link to the article in the description of this video. So now it's on record, folks. It's literal proof if we have to use this at any point in time in the future and say, look, we were discriminated against as men, even though, like I say, it's popular nowadays, and those in power have the ability to do whatever they want, right? Because how can we stop them? Those are the ones, they get all the guns, right? They're the representation of the monopoly of force of violence. So even though we can't do anything about it now, well, like I say, I'm keeping a record of all this stuff, and we will be able to do something about it at some point in time. Hopefully sooner rather than later, because things just seem to be spiraling completely out of control these days, as you probably recognize yourself. Anyways, like I say, I'll share this article in the link in the description of the video below. But yeah, what else needs to be said about this? Now they're saying that women should have their weighted advantages, and I'm sure it goes on even more there than just the fact that their vote should be 1.5 times your vote, which, like I say, I'm sure that's an initiative that they would more than be happy to get behind, because, well, they're using that New Brunswick example to pump that up, right? So, but think about how far else they'll take it if the Canadian people allow them to do so. Like I say, actually, I'm at this point now, I don't even want to try to do much as far as like supporting any political parties to try to get out from underneath this quickly, because I just don't think it's going to happen. I think maybe we just got to let these people do their thing. Like I say, I'm not saying I want to, but hey, I think that fall the only way it's going to happen is let them ramp up this stuff as fast and as quickly as possible. Let's hasten the ultimate demise and collapse, or the breakdown of society. And then maybe at that point in time, we can start rebuilding and doing things in a much better manner going forward. Because like I say, I don't think we're going to be able to tinker around the edges and change things in this country as far as, like, voting in a political party. I say, let the whole system come to a crash. Not that I want it or necessarily embrace it, but hey, if that's what's got to happen to correct people's habits, behaviors, and their psychology and their mentalities and their perceptions in regards to how government should affect our daily lives and how deeply they should be embedded in our daily social and economic lives. Like I say, let's just get her over with, folks. Because just like if you've got that Band-Aid that's been on your arm for the last week, well, you can try peeling that off slowly, but it's just going to keep hurting every little bit you keep pulling. Or you can just grit your teeth and just rip that thing off entirely. It's going to hurt a little bit more. The pain's going to be a little bit more intense, but it's going to be over a shorter amount of time too. And the healing process will actually start much quicker by getting rid of that bandage. So let's air it all out, folks. And let's get to the point where we can truly start that healing process. I say it's better sooner rather than later. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.